move down the row of seats to try to see what's going on at the back of the auditorium. The students around me are motionless, and the buzz has deepened to a murmur of unease. Near the stage, someone shouts the emergency exit is locked. One set of doors to my left opens, fluorescent light filters in around a lone figure. It takes me a second to process his raised arm. The word gun floats all around me before the crowd silences, stills. Principal Trenton, I have a question. The figure points the weapon at her. His finger curls around the trigger, then he fires. On April 20th, 1999, two young men entered Columbine High School and began what would go down in history as the most notorious school shooting ever. Since this day, school shootings have become the norm in the American education system. Many of these shootings are forgotten, but the trauma that the students have remains forever. In the following selection, we are shown a first-hand telling of one of these shootings from the point of view of Autumn, the shooter's sister. This is Where It Ends by Marie Knikamp. I freeze in terror. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to run. From the wings, Mr. Jameson and three other teachers creep towards Ty's side of the stage. I suck in a breath. They're underestimating him. I don't know what Ty wants, but if they try to stop him, this will only get worse. Get back to your seats. I don't want anyone sneaking up on me. I'm thirsty. Does anyone have a drink? No one? Bottled water? A can of soda? Nothing? You there. Tyler gestures out at a boy in the aisle with whom we've shared years of classes with. It's Kevin Rowland, one of Opportunity High School's only out and proud students. During lunch one day, one of Kevin's friends, Jay, accidentally tipped his soda on Tyler. When Kevin found his tire slashed at the end of the day, someone set fire to Ty's locker in retaliation, and it kept escalating until Tyler dropped out. I'm thirsty, Kevin, Tyler says. Kevin rummages in his bag. His face is bright red when he looks up and mouths, nothing. Shame. I barely have time to look away before another shot shatters the morning and Kevin tumbles back. A freshman beside us stumbles and trips when a bullet perforates her neck. I almost join the screaming as blood spatters my face. Do you know what it feels like to lose everything you hold dear? Your family, your girlfriend, for your entire town to turn against you too? Arrogant Tyler, idiotic Tyler, outcast Tyler. I'm reclaiming Opportunity High School. Your lives are mine. My head feels light as if I've done 1,000 pirouettes. I want to go back to when Ty took care of me like a big brother. To go back to before we all fell apart. To stop this from ever happening. I want to slap some sense into him, tell him to think about everything he's losing now. But I'm frozen. Ty's voice shakes the auditorium, and my heart sinks when he stops to focus on another student. The people around me sit, crouch, and hunch. I keep my head down and crawl. I weave between their legs and around their bodies until I'm staring at the steps of the stage. I stand. No one notices me. All eyes are fixed on Ty and his next victim. Tyler. My voice is nothing more than a hoarse whisper. Murmurs surround me, heads turn, the broken silence gives me strength. I clear my throat before I speak again. Tyler, I'm here. He starts to turn and time slams to a stop. In the aisle, students are crawling towards the doors, away from the cover of seats and their targets. Before common sense or survival instinct kicks in, I reach out to grab Tyler by the shoulders before he can see what's happening. Tyler, look at me, listen to me. Ty's face hardens and his arm snaps back, and the barrel of the gun bashes my cheek. Blood pools in my mouth, and I hold my hands over my cheek and whimper. Ty bends over me so our faces are inches apart, and I can't stop myself from shaking. I hate you. I wanted you to stay, but you never cared about me. You never cared about any of us. You only ever cared about dance. He digs the barrel of the gun into my ribs, and I expect him to snap. Instead, he hesitates. blinks as if awakening from a reverie. The barrel drops for a second, and my eyes widen and tremble, and this time there is nothing I can do when he spins around, his gun poised, and faces the thinning crowd in the auditorium. On hands and knees, I crawl away from him as fast as I can. With every inch gained, I expect a bullet to shatter my spine. My knees and my elbows feel like jello under my weight, and I pull myself forward, clambering toward the steps at the side of the stage. I try not to look down at the carpet, which is stained with blood, but I need to get away from here. Tyler turns toward the main entrance, and I pray that anyone who dawdled got out. When the door to the auditorium bursts open, I lean over to see what's going on. Half a dozen officers dressed in SWAT uniforms sweep down the aisle. Tyler's left the auditorium, announcing himself with more gunfire. My cut stings, and I wipe at it with my sleeve, which only makes the pain worse. Everyone rushes toward the front of the school to safety, protected on either side by the SWAT team. When a handful of officers leads a group of students out of the auditorium, I grab my chance. I trail them at the back of the group and shiver when we cross the threshold into the hallway. Where would Ty go? If he stayed here or if he went outside, the officers would have already noticed him and we would be free. We wouldn't have to hide. It'd make the most sense for him to go to the second floor. I hang near the wall and let the group walk away from me. The soft static of the officers' radios fades. I won't have much time. Shot rings upstairs, and I make my way toward the second floor. In the dim lighting, the stairwell feels haunted. Even more so when I see two students sprawled across the steps, their blank eyes staring at me. At the corner, I crouch low and peek around it. Ty stands in the center of the hallway and swings his gun wildly. My breath catches and the sound startles Ty and he pivots to face me. What are you doing here? Give it in, Ty. There's nothing left to gain from shooting anyone. He doesn't respond. You know, after Mom died, you were the only one to ever see me dance. You know the ballet shoe charm that you bought for me for my birthday last year? I've never taken it off. When Ty's hand brushes my wrist, my voice trips. You were always with me. You are always with me. You never had to be alone, Ty. He releases my wrist and my knees give way. The world is against us. You need to understand that before it kills you. It's rich, coming from the kid with the gun, but his monotone leaves me far more afraid than his raging ever did. He sits down in front of me. The footsteps and the voices have reached our floor. The officers are still too distant to hear what's being said, but they're moving with more confidence now. You won't kill me. We're family. That must count for something. It does. He takes off his watch and stares at it. I wonder how much time has passed. Minutes? An hour, maybe? It feels like days, an eternity, and it's impossible to imagine the world around us has continued at its normal rhythm. I stand. The police will be here at any moment, and that'll be the end of it. You'll have accomplished nothing. I just don't want to be alone anymore. Then he blows his brains out. One of the officers kneels down in front of me and places what I'm sure is supposed to be a comforting hand on my shoulder. With two officers flanking me, we head away from the windows. The light is dimmer, and perhaps it would be better not to see it all. Perhaps it would be easier not to see what we've lost.